Shalom, it's your brother Yeraq, giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Give me the spirit to send this message. Shalom to the men of the Lord that are preaching the word in sincerity out there on the highways and byways. Shalom to you, shalom to the one-third elect, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the true children of Israel, whom the Lord will have mercy on in these latter days. And I have another, just a quick hit here. It's an article here that says the UN, which is the United Nations, takes heat for a bizarre gender-neutral language code, and it's funny here. I have Proverbs 29. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." And you see it here. The UN is taking heat for this, showing you that a good chunk of the world is not with this madness that Esau in the so-called West is trying to propagate all throughout the earth. He's a wicked ruler, and the people ultimately are not having it. And that's this energy that's going about in the earth is ultimately what you're going to see is going to culminate into them turning against them. And as in Obadiah 1:7, it says, your even your allies, will lay a wound underneath thee, and it says there's no understanding in him, because he's welling with pride. This is what you do when you're clearly in rulership and you don't know what you're doing, and you have luxuries. Like people who don't have money, people who worry about their food, where that's coming from, they don't have time to engage in this. And that's why historically throughout all of the empires of Esau, it's always been this elite that's been into all this weird freakism, popping little boys, having sex with animals and goats, like it's not something that you can afford to do when you're in poverty, and Esau has amassed all the wealth in the world, essentially one way or the other, or at least the power and influence unto himself. And the majority of countries in the world are third world, you know. And when he comes out and he tries to impose these weird laws like this, you see it. It says the United Nations has taken heat after posting a bizarre new dictionary of gender neutral terms to replace more gendered words used in everyday life with social media. Users expressing bewilderment and confusion at the language policing that in some cases appeared to backfire. Right. So, and now you see why this place is likened unto Babylon the Great, which the word Babylon goes back to confusion. Now you see why there's the comparison here, because this is just another one example of him just causing confusion throughout the earth. He's literally a terrorist, taking over countries, undermining their economies, passing laws over him over land that he took, and ultimately destroying people and causing confusion. He's like a drunken sailor just vomiting all over the earth, and he's got to be dealt with. It says the UN draws fire after electing Somalia, Congo to women's rights boards. The dictionary, originally posted by UN Women, includes terms that have been in regular use for a while, such as replacing mankind with humankind and chairman with chair, So they're just trying to remove the masculinity out of language. They're trying to create a even playing field when it comes to speech, and all other manner of people who don't identify as either a man or a woman, which is confusion. Others, however, are a little more strained. The list suggests replacing landlord with owner, and a term that has its own problematic connotations related to slavery and cannot typically be swapped for the former term without dramatically changing the meaning. This is Bob. Bob is my owner, showing you that this man is out of control. He's trying to put women in charge. Women are not fit to lead over men like that, Women have a beautiful place, and they have a beautiful role in society, and the way the Most High created them is beautiful. But when you pervert it, you try to force them into positions where they're not really apt to do it. At the end of the day, women are not going to fight a war. And that's what it boils down to. A lot of women are on this feminism movement about why can't women lead and be in charge? Well, that's why. Ultimately, the man is expected to go out and handle the matters of life and death, and men are designed to do it, and men are more willing to do it than women are. You know, and this is Esau trying to spit in the face again of the Most High. He wants to be God. You know, this reminds me back in the account of what was it in Jeremiah when we went into this, this worship of these other gods, uh, and started basically going off, and the Most High got, you know, he got indignant. It says, seest. Sorry, I'll start at 16. It says, therefore pray now, pray not thou for this people. This was us, the Israelites. Neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. So when you indulge in this language, and you have a lot of these Israelite women that are falling hook, line, and sinker into this language, into this rhetoric. You had these Somalian women that are over in charge of it. They're the ones. It's Eve who ends up bringing our men into this in most cases. It says verse 17. It says, seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? Because they were doing all kind of madness. And Jeremiah had to curse them out. It says 18. The children gather wood, and their fathers kindle fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, which was a very popular god, or goddess that our people had that heavy spirit to worship, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Verse 19 says, do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord Yahweh? Do they provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? And that's exactly what this is. They're provoking themselves to the confusion. They're provoking the Most High to anger and to the confusion of their own faces, because you really can't speak with this type of police speeching, or speech policing, Salakia, or under these types of constraints, and they can just arbitrarily do this whenever they want. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And if you don't play ball, you're a bigot. They'll slander you. They'll call you all kind of names. It says the tweet was quickly flooded with responses by people suggesting UN take its advice elsewhere, quickly zipping up a ratio. And on Twitter, a ratio is basically when you make a tweet, which is a post, and you'll get a lot more comments than you will likes. And they call it getting ratioed, meaning people don't really like what you posted, and more people are commenting on what you're saying, usually negative, than people are adding the likes to it. And it says, stop trying to control people's language. It's creepy and unnecessary. Former British conservative MEP Lucy Harris tweeted. And this is the tweet here. It says, help create a more equal world by using gender neutral language if you're unsure about someone's gender or are referring to a group. And there's nothing, they don't care about equality at all. What they're trying to do is pacify the middle and poverty class. They're trying to undermine them because they don't go by these rules. They don't have problems with their women bucking up against them, especially the elites of this world. It says mankind, humankind, chairman, congressman, the legislator, businessman, a representative. Look, maiden name to family name. This is madness, husband slash wife to spouse, you know. And there's lots of languages are gendered. All of the languages based out of Latin, all the Romantic languages, all of them are gendered. They have feminine and masculine versions of the same word, of pronouns and all types of other things. And Hebrew has gendered language. You know, you have Achiam, you have Akwath. You know, you have Bun for son, and then you have Bath for daughter. You know, and this is just more proof that Esau is completely against the Most High, and this is proof that he is Esau. You know, who else would go against the Most High this hard? You know. Let's see. Let's get a. Let's see. Which verse? Salakia. See, First Colossians 14. Salakia. First Colossians 13. Corinthians Salakia. We get the name. I think it's verse 33, and it says, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints." You know, and that's really the bottom line of it all. You know, the Most High is not with these laws and ordinance that Esau is passing among the earth, and ultimately it's just a sign that he's going to come and destroy this place. This is last scripture. I'll get Isaiah 29:16. And it says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the clay say of him that made it, he made me not?" You know, so can the thing that was created come back and say, you know, how I was made isn't right? How, who are we to the Most High? You know, we don't even understand our own biology. You know, it's just the level of pride you need to do this is staggering. You know, or shall the thing framed say, him that framed me, it had no understanding. You know, and that's very true. Esau is just turning things upside down, and that's how you know he is the devil. You know, and I'm sure you're going to see more of this coming out about him, you know, changing laws, trying to get people to, you know, accept homosexuality, transgenderism, transhumanism, anything that he can do to go against the creation of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's what you're going to see. And you know, as dreadful as this thing is to see, it's also a good sign, because this is a sign that he's waxing worse and worse, where the Lord is close. He's on his way back, you know. So you brothers can get this article. It's on Fox News. Hopefully you brothers were edified.